A lot of you are sending me emails and messages about the emergency warning system test coming up on the 4th of October at 2:20 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Guys, I'm not going to worry about this. And why is that? Well, I'm going to go all into it. But some people are sending me messages with videos, like I saw a video on Rumble, where guys were making some outlandish claims about the test, claiming that people were going to turn into zombies, that they were going to be kicking over to be planted 6 feet under. Guys, that ain't happening. Trust me. And let me explain some of the reasons why. I'm standing right now by a cell phone transmission facility. We'll talk about that just briefly. But guys, the 5G radiation that everybody's so worried about only can penetrate the skin to 1/64th of an inch. Essentially, that's just about the depth of the dead skin on the surface of your skin. So this idea that it's going to be sending and transmitting information to nanobots that come from some injection that are going to program them to do various nefarious things is somewhat overrated. Frankly, the physics is not there to support that point blank. I'm an engineer. I've worked electrical stuff in my life. I'm an electrical engineer. I've worked RF stuff. The physics don't support it. The technology and nanotechnology, yeah, we're developing stuff, but nanotechnology is yet to be sophisticated enough to actually implement such a nefarious scheme. It's not to say there are not nefarious schemes in the world, but this is not one that I'm going to lose any sleep over. Because we've actually had an emergency warning system test like this about 5 years ago nationwide. They do all kind of tests, you know, from time to time through radio, but this one's going to be to your cell phones. Oh yeah, one of the other things I saw claim was, oh, they got frequencies that if you showed your phone in a Faraday cage, it will get through it. That's bunk. That is stupidity. Somebody, blah, 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 expert on a big channel, getting tons of views, talking out there, not knowing jack diddle about what they're saying. Because if you have a good Faraday cage and got something properly shielded in it, if it's good to the right decibel level, you ain't getting nothing through. You need to know something about Gauss' law to understand this, how charge goes outside of a conductor, all charges, and it's not respective of any particular frequency. So yeah, you just need if you got a really, really good tight Faraday cage, and it depends on how good it is, you're not going to have to worry about that. Another thing, the signals from these, yeah, I'm standing underneath one, the signal here is fairly strong. But what you get in your cell phone, what comes through your devices, is minute. That's why there's a lot of amplifiers in this to amplify a signal up to the level that it can become a sound you hear, and then you transmit out at actually a higher level than what you're receiving on, so that it can get back to one of these towers. But it also is received up here minute and has to be amplified quite a bit. So the bottom line is there is not enough power coming out of these to concern you. There's not enough at most of your levels where most of you are at. I'm not saying I wouldn't want to live under one of these things. No, I wouldn't even want to live too close to high power power lines. These aren't the high power ones that I'd be concerned with. Let's see, I don't see any on the horizon from here. I know there's some way down there somewhere. And you can see there's cell towers everywhere. The 5G requires more towers because the signal is weaker and they have penetration problems, like even with trees and forests. If I'm driving through trees trying to do a live cast, it breaks up. It has to go to 4G. Now 4G will actually penetrate a little deeper, but it doesn't have the bandwidth. So this is a nothing burger. Trust me. You know, if you don't buy it, if you don't believe me, okay, then judge me on the 5th of October and let's see where we stand, okay? What I'm telling you is there's a lot of things to worry about. I would worry about the price of food. We just had a cornfield harvest. They had a real good harvest here, and this is the Madison Crossroads area in Madison County, Alabama. They just had a real good corn crop here. Some places not so good. I would worry about price of food, availability of food. Is something I cover about a lot. I'd worry about the viability of our power grid, about an EMP or some kind of a hacking attack or direct ballistic attack taking out our substations. I would worry about the source of supplies of fuel, the prices of fuel. You can see these cars running up and down the highway. There's a lot of stuff to be really concerned about. But I think all this is a distraction that people put out to be concerned about these things. And I wonder if some of it is coordinated by people that want to make other people look like fools, or they want to get people numbed down so such an event really, so something happening you really should be concerned about. You've heard so many things that weren't going to happen, then you go, nah, I ain't buying it. So when the day comes that you should buy into something, you ain't there because you've heard too many wolf calls. So literally, that's what this is. You know, the website, oh yeah, one of the claims of this side, of course, that I saw in this video was like, and several people sent me this one darn video, and it's from Rumble, was, you know, claiming that, well, you know, it'll set your phones off even if they're not on. Now, admittedly, according to Snowden, they have the ability to monitor your cameras in these phones, turn them on and off remotely, and your devices off. So maybe they got that ability. Maybe they could turn your phone on and receive the signal. But if it's in the right Faraday cage, ain't happening. So I'm just seeing all kind of nutty claims out there that I'm just not buying into. I am an engineer. I am a technologist. One of my friends, a guy I know, is K. Eric Drexler. He wrote the book Engines of Creation that kicked off the whole nanotechnology craze. I once took Marvin Minsky, one of the fathers of AI, to a drugstore when I was the chairman of the policy committee of the National Space Society and executive vice president thereof, and later the chairman of the executive committee, which at the time was the CEO position of the National Space Society. I've been involved in technology development, cutting edge stuff. I know people that are in these movements. And I'm just going to tell you, yeah, there's some patents out there that are just concept patents. They're not technology development patents. Now, there is a patent out there that may be existent that you might have to worry about. They might could put voices in your head because you can hear certain frequencies in your head. And if they put a modulation tone on, they can make them, and they're in a microwave range typically, they can, certain microwave ranges, they can make them sound like a voice. And it's called Voice of God technology. Now supposedly I've seen a patent for that. So that's not surprising. I used to could hear, know that my phone was about to ring when I had a speaker phone. Just when the surge current was going into the phone just before it started ringing, I would hear a buzz inside my head. So yeah, there's certain people that are sensitive to those kind of things. And so I know what that is. All that said, I'm not worried one little bit about this. Yeah, one other big thing that was out for a while was a lot of people were claiming that they were going to send a signal, this was years ago, claiming they were going to send a signal out from these that was going to fry everybody in the country. And they used all these big tubes going up and down the towers. So, oh look, those are conductors. These things can put out megawatts, gigawatts of power and just fry everybody around. That was one of the claims made. Well, you know what? That was the stupidest thing I ever heard. Because, you know, one of the things I've done in my life is assemble microwave transmission towers and put them up. And I'm here to tell you that those big tubes are not big copper conductors. They're waveguides. That's signal guides. There's a signal generator in one of these boxes down here, and it's just sending signal up that tube. That's all it's doing. It's a tube. It's not a solid conductor. And you know what? The power line going to this, that's the power going to it. So you think that something with this much power going to something like that could really generate something that goes underground here. You think something with a little power line like this would be able to supply, you know, gigawatts, you know, of power like they were claiming to come out from these? You know, just some people ain't got walking around sense. Yet that was all over YouTube. It was a rage for some time. It was a rage. It was all over all kind of channels. PhDs, doctors, so-called experts, idiots. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Well, that never happened. Why? Because it wasn't in the physics. It was not even possible. It wasn't possible that that could be done. Because there wasn't that kind of power available to these systems. Do they have power? Could this affect your health? Would I want to live under one? I wouldn't want to live under one of these. I would not want to live under one of these, because over time that is a lot of RF, and I think there are concerns. I got friends who chastise me for that, but I would not want to live under one. I would not want to be too close to one and live in proximity. But otherwise, it don't scare me. I got two routers. I got a router right next to my desk, just feet away from me, where I work all the time and have had it for years. Has it affected me? Has it affected me? Has it affected me? No, not as far as I know. You got to have a little fun with this, guys. Seriously, there are things to be worried about. There are things to be concerned about. There's things we got to pay attention to. Some people say, okay, you're a fearmonger. All this stuff you put out is pure fearmonger. I shut down all kind of fearmongering. I go against a lot of stuff. There's a certain channel out there right now who's once again claiming, I got insider news, we're about to get hit by asteroids. He does that about every October for some reason. We're going to be hit by asteroids, and by this, in a couple of months, nobody will be able to deny it. And I've actually put up videos denying it and explaining why in great detail. And next year he'll put out the same thing. I'm not going to name his channel. I've done it before. I'm not here to bust other channels. I'm just here to dispel fears that are baseless. Not to say that an asteroid couldn't hit us. Oh yeah, it's always possible. It's always a possibility. But there's a lot of fear-mongering out there. There's a lot of big channels that actually make money off the fear-mongering, I suppose. I don't know. If I wanted to just make money, as some people accuse, I'd be selling these little devices called shields. They're supposed to protect people from that going down right there. You know? Those little shield devices. I could make $200 profit for each one. That's what their commission on. It's a huge commission. And as much as I talk about that stuff going down, I could sell them like hotcakes. I'd made a killing if I'd have been selling those. But you don't see me sell those. You know why? Because I don't believe in it. That's why. I get people all the time asking me questions about that stuff. I wouldn't connect one up if I had it. If somebody gave it to me, I'd probably just built a demo project to fry something with it. Just to show how rotten it is. So, yeah, if somebody gave me one, I wouldn't connect it up in my house. I wouldn't bother. I might go to Siemens and get some better equipment. Go to my friend Arthur Bradley to get better equipment, to get some ferrous beads. Is there such a thing as voltage division that their claims do not recognize? And I know as an electrical engineer, if you look up those similar devices on Siemens, they will tell you about voltage division, and they will tell and like little wires the size of a little mouse wire is supposed to protect you from all that voltage. I don't know, guys. It's a quick pulse, but still, I'm highly skeptical. Let me just put it that way. But anyway, so guys, I'm just telling you that there's some things not to worry about, and this test coming up is one of them that I'm not worried about. Now, in all fairness, I've had a lot of my viewers want me to go live that day, and one of them gave me a super chat to do it, so I'll do it. So if I'll have my phone on. I'll do it just for fun, or maybe I'll turn it off just to see if it'll ring anyway. But guys, we'll see if I do the funky chicken. If I kick over and if I thought that was going to happen, I wouldn't do it. You know what I mean, guys? So I'm not concerned about it. Now, what I would be concerned about is the pretext. Are we getting ready for something big to happen? Is this a pretext for something else? There's other things to be concerned about. And bigger yet, the Russian test coming up the very next day. No, the day before, excuse me. The Russian test is going to be on the 3rd of October. And that's an actual nationwide nuclear drill. Way beyond our emergency warning activity that we're doing. So, could they use that to launch? Guys, I don't know. Government shutdown looks like it's been averted, maybe. The House has voted on the stopgap bill. If it passes the Senate by midnight tonight, that will be averted. Maybe by the time this video is posted, that will have already been done. It's quite possible, more likely than not, that will happen today, well before midnight. Eastern time is what I'm thinking. But we shall see. If the government does shut down, that's not the end of the world either. But with all the financial problems we're facing in the country right now, it could be the hair or the straw that breaks the camel's back, but it's not by itself, it's not a major deal. We've done it many times. We've had many, many shutdowns. So, guys, just hang in there, and let's pay attention to what's going on in the world. We got a lot of things to be worried about right now. A lot of things are happening that you need to be aware of. Oh yeah, I am selling worms again. If you want worms, go to greengregs.com. And if you're wanting some supplies to help you through when the grid's down, check out prepwithgreg.com. Anyway, Well, that I'm going to say thank you for watching. Keep your eyes wide open and head on a swivel. Keep your eyes wide open and head on a swivel so you know what's coming at us. It's a proposition in this channel help you survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive, but also leaving kind of busting some of the BS out there, because you don't need to be worried about stuff that's a nothing burger. We got plenty of other things to keep our eyes open for. Thank you for watching. Greg out.